Hey guys, so in this video I want to talk about everything you need to know to edit faster. I'm not the fastest editor in the world, but after watching players like Raider464, Howl, and Floodaholic, I picked up a couple of things that have helped me improve my editing speed and accuracy. Because editing has become such a big and complex mechanic in Fortnite, I'm going to split the video up into 4 different parts. We'll start with why it's important to edit fast, then move over to the best editing keybinds, then we'll go to some tips and tricks, and finish with my favorite practice courses and creative maps. As always, feel free to skip around, but I recommend watching the whole thing through even if you think you're a fast editor already. So let's start with talking about why editing fast in Fortnite is so important. Outside of using it to show off to your friends or to make YouTube videos about how cracked and underrated you are, editing fast has become crucial to any high-level player's gameplay. In scrims, fast editing helps you tunnel into zone, take quick shots on other players rotating, and just generally stay protected while navigating through those crazy late game circles. In build battles, you can use quick edits to create unexpected angles, you can use it to block shots and secure kills you probably couldn't get by just building. Finally, and maybe most importantly, fast editing allows you to become a much better box fighter. Getting pressured while low health and inside a 1x1 is arguably the toughest position to be in. Your opponents will try replacing your walls, and the only thing you can do to stop them from W keying you is to kill them. How do you do that though? The short answer is fast edits. The faster you're able to edit and get a shot off, the less time the guy replacing your wall has to react. On top of that, the faster you can edit your way out of your 1x1 and into another one or build up for high ground, you're giving yourself more time to heal, calm down, and regain control of the fight. Making plays in box fights is all about how fast and smoothly you can pull off your edits. You want to give your opponent no time to think, meaning the slower your edits are, the more likely you are to take damage yourself. That's why it's so difficult to win fights when you're the turtling player. Think of all the tens of hundreds of different counter turtling techniques you can use to get into a box, but getting out of that box alive when you're the one inside of it, that's all about editing fast. So evidently, being able to make quick edits is important in just about every different situation and scenario. How do we actually do it though? First, we gotta look at our keybinds. If we want to be able to edit as fast as we possibly can, we gotta have good keybinds. Any good editing keybind, whether on keyboard or controller, should be accessible, comfortable, and should be on a finger that can spam edit. In my opinion, the best editing keys you can use are E and F. E and F are the closest keybinds to WASD, so they're in reach and easy to hit. Plus, they're on your index finger, which is the strongest finger you have. If you've ever done a hard editing course, you'll probably understand this. Constantly mashing your edit key for like 5 minutes straight is ridiculously tiring and draining. If you can barely get through a minute or two without giving up because your edit key is too far away from WASD, or it's on too weak of a finger, then you may want to change it. Notice also how I did not include G as one of the best edit keybinds. While it is a decent edit keybind, E and F are just way more optimal because of how close they are to WASD and to other builds. Mongrel and Benji Fishy just changed their editing keybinds from G to F and D respectively, so if you're still editing on G, I definitely consider making that change. Other edit keybinds I think are good are V and left shift. You can hit V with your thumb so you don't have to take your fingers off WASD. Tfue uses V mainly because he plays with a horizontal keyboard, so it allows him to jump and edit at the same time, and he's comfortable with using his thumb for that, which most people aren't. Then there's left shift, which Ghost Sean and Liquid Chap use. You have to have a really strong pinky to use it, which is why I stayed away from it. If you can use it though, it's really good because like with your thumb, you never lose any control of your movement while editing. Some honorable mentions for decent editing keybinds are caps lock, Q, and mouse button. I just think there are better editing keybinds like the 4 keybinds that I mentioned before, E, F, V, or shift. So there's a good chance you're probably holding yourself back by not optimizing your editing keybind if you're still on a different one. For controller, it depends if you have paddles, if you play claw, or if you play normally. Some good ones that I've seen though are triangle, left joystick, either one of your left bumpers, or either one of your paddles. That's just for editing with one keybind though. We've been talking a lot about optimizing our keybinds, so what about 2 edit keys? Raider464 was the guy that kind of took the Fortnite world by storm with his 2 edit keys. Instead of editing with one key, like F, and pressing F to select and confirm the edit, Raider uses one keybind to select the edit, and then a completely different keybind to confirm the edit. Just like with building, by using 2 different keybinds for 2 different actions while editing, you'll be a lot faster than using one finger to perform that action twice. This results in some of the fastest and most insane editing speeds I've ever seen. It really looks like he's using some sort of macro because it's so fast and twitchy that it doesn't look normal. But there's no magic trick or cheat that he's using. He just uses 2 different keybinds to edit and has essentially mastered it. What he does and what you should be doing for 2 edit keybinds is 1 keybind on your keyboard and then 1 on your mouse. That way you begin the edit with whatever finger you hit on your keyboard and then you can confirm it with your mouse. You could use another keyboard keybind to confirm it, but it'd have to be on a different finger and then you're losing even more control of your movement, which at that point is not worth it. Now, for keyboard and mouse, I'm generally not a fan of 2 edit keybinds. Yes, it is technically faster than 1 key, but there's a ton of drawbacks to it. First is the sheer amount of time it will take to get used to it. Basically everyone who's played the game for more than a month is used to 1 edit key, and building the muscle memory for 2 edit keys will take a lot more time than just switching a building bind around. 72 Hours and Tfue both tried out 2 edit keys for a few days and both of them switched back because they realized how big the learning curve was and how long it would take to be able to edit faster than they could before. Plus, look at all the players like Mongraal who can edit nearly as fast with 1 keybind. The second thing is that to utilize 2 edit keys to the best of its ability, one of them should be a mouse button, which if you guys know my philosophy for optimal building keybinds, I don't think you should waste a mouse button for editing. A majority of people only have 2 mouse buttons and I recommend both are used for building. The last problem with 2 edit keys is that because both of your editing primary and secondary keybinds are being used, you cannot use scroll wheel reset anymore. Apparently, there's a workaround where you can rebind some keys in your mouse software and that will allow you to do both, but I'm not really sure how it works or if it works. Overall though, I think you're giving up too much for too little of a benefit when using 2 edit keys on keyboard and mouse. I do, however, highly recommend using 2 edit keys on controller. Reason being is controller players have the edit mode function, which can allow them to utilize more binds once they're editing. Pretty much every top tier controller player I know uses 2 edit keys. I don't really want to recommend any 2 edit keys for controller because it's kind of just too complex and there's just a lot of stuff to go into it. Go check out someone like Gronky settings because he's a really good controller player that's very helpful. With that out of the way though and our edit keybind set, let's get into tips and tricks for editing faster. My first and biggest tip is to focus on both speed and accuracy. A lot of the time, if you're editing more than 1 or 2 builds in a row, it's better to be consistent rather than just fast. The end goal is to be both fast and consistent like the best editors in the world are, but you gotta start with successfully making the edits first. This is something I struggle with a ton, and you'll see it sometimes where I replace a wall and try to edit too fast, so I miss the edit and nothing happens. If I had just gone a little slower, I wouldn't have missed the edit, and I'd actually be editing a lot faster than trying to edit the wall 2 or 3 times really fast, but repeatedly missing. This is a common thing I'll do in box fights too, where I will try to edit way too fast, I'll miss the edit, and then I get stuck and die. The solution is just to slow down when you practice so you can build up your muscle memory. That way you'll slowly get faster and faster just like with building. Next tip is to master the rhythm of editing quickly. Again, this is something I mess up a lot. Editing is just 3 actions: pressing your edit keybind to start the edit, then selecting what tiles on the wall to edit, and finally confirming the edit. If you start selecting the tiles before your game actually registers that you began the edit, or you confirm the edit before you finished your edit, the edit won't go through. You want to get the timing down to truly perfect and speed up your edits. The best editors in the world have the timing down to a T and rarely, if ever, mess it up. My final tip is to utilize all the different tricks you can to become faster and more consistent. Scroll wheel edit reset is the most useful one in my opinion. All you need to do is bind scroll wheel up or down to reset building edit and then to your building edit keybind. With this, instead of having to slowly start the edit, then reset it and confirm it, you can just use scroll wheel up or down with your mouse and it will instantly reset. Just make sure you're utilizing everything you can to the best of your ability. So we have our keybinds and some tips and tricks. Last thing we gotta do is actually practice our editing. My current favorite practice course is by a controller player named Tito. It's a huge practice map with aim, building, and editing practice, but it's got this amazing editing course with only awkward edits. By awkward edits, I mean those edits where you're in a 1x1 and you're pushed up against the wall and you have to edit your way out. That's exactly what the whole section is. He puts boosters on the floor so you're forced up against walls, floors, and ramps, and you have to pull off those weird edits in order to continue on. It also has all the normal edit practice you would want, like edit towers, edit ups, and edit courses. The awkward edit section alone makes this map my favorite, so definitely go try it out. The other map that I've been using is by another YouTuber named Flea. He makes some of the sickest creative maps, and this is definitely one of his best for editing. It's called the Editing Dictionary because it features every different type of edit you could possibly think of. He even went ahead and color coded it from easiest to hardest. My advice would be to practice Tito's awkward edits and then practice Flea's map for about everything else. All in all, that's everything you need to know about editing fast in Fortnite. We covered why it's important, good keybinds, 2 edit keys, tips and tricks, and even my favorite 2 practice maps. If this video helped you guys out, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and to turn on post notifications. I'll have some more details soon on a huge giveaway I'm going to do for 300k subscribers. So again, make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.